My apologies to Nigerian youths. Part 2. Why Nigerian youths must forgive the old generation. My name is Benjamin Alika. In part 1 of this message, I tendered an unreserved apologies to the youths of our dear nation, stating in clear terms the reasons I chose to tender my apologies to them. This I did in my capacity as a Nigerian and as a father, and on behalf of myself, my generation, and the generation of our fathers, for our insensitivity and lack of foresight. Actions that contributed to the retardation of our nation and resulted in a country with little or no love, plan, opportunities, and hope for our youth and our future generations. 3 reasons why I consider my apologies to Nigerian youths urgent and critical. Firstly, the growing space of anger, bitterness, resentment, and disrespect amongst the Nigerian youths against the older generation and the nation is reaching an alarming rate which we can no longer afford to ignore as a nation. Secondly, unforgiveness, bitterness, anger, and frustration are not only inimical to the health and destiny of the Nigerian youth and our nation, but the recipe for anarchy and more national crisis, which we cannot afford. Thirdly, to inspire the youths of Nigeria towards channeling their pains as well as their skills into leadership and transformational tools for Nigeria's accelerated development and self-actualization. The purpose of this part 2 of my apologies and advice to Nigerian youths is to put forward 10 compelling reasons why our youths cannot but urgently forgive my generation and our nation for our insensitivity towards them, so they do not sabotage their golden opportunity to seize this great moment of history to turn their fortune and that of our nation round. Now, reason number 1, why you must forgive. You are forgiven not because we possibly deserve it. It takes unforgiveness to work against your own self. The great Nelson Mandela told his black South African patriots that they will never know true freedom until they have forgiven their fellow white South Africans who willfully oppressed and took away their freedom. Without forgiveness and without freedom, you render your soul hostage and condemn yourself to a life of needless emotional torture and physical toiling instead of flourishing. You have to be free to lead and set others free and to create a free and flourishing world. It is only through freedom, peace, and joy we can ever hope to enjoy the limitless power of divine energy, inspiration, and creative drive to blossom effortlessly and accomplish extraordinary results, especially in these defining and difficult times and in this great moment of our history. Number 2 reason why you must forgive. A bitter and a hateful generation have no future. Unforgiveness will render you naturally bitter, hateful, and blind. Therefore, incapable of sound reasoning, good judgment, and constructive engagement. It is impossible for you to live a significant life without a healthy heart and capacity to be calm, measured, reasonable, and far-sighted. To fail to forgive is to settle for pride, wickedness, and acrimony. Now, here's the problem. Hate and wickedness are open invitation by yourself to confusion and all manner of evil in your life. Pride renders you arrogant, unteachable, then blind, and ultimately self-defeated. So unforgiveness is not an option to consider. Why you must forgive. Reason number 3. Forgiveness is the only cure for emotional hurt and trauma. Unforgiveness must degenerate to offense, anger, resentment, and personal disorientation. Anger and resentment must cost you not only your joy, inner peace, and balance, but lead to progressive degeneration of your mind to create an unhealthy personality and self-destructive habits, which you cannot afford. Your generation cannot progress forward with a culture of anger as well as that of victim mentality, nor will a better Nigeria you desire be born through a life of frustration, disorientation, aggression, and violence. It takes forgiveness to dissolve anger, mistrust, prejudice, and to empower your ability to be large-hearted, constructive, and forward-looking. Number 4 reason why you must forgive. There is no great leadership without a forgiving heart. The key responsibility of every leader, especially in challenging times, is to heal, reconcile, unite, and inspire a broken population. How can you lead a society of deeply offended people when you yourself is in the same polluted river and water? Now, first problem. It takes unforgiveness to darken the human soul with meanness to reproduce selfish, wicked, and oppressive leaders. All it takes to become a suppressive leader, a dictatorial leader, rather than a transformational leader, is an unforgiving spirit and a mean soul. Meaning you can never be a great leader with an unforgiving heart. And that, for me, is a tragedy. Today, the greatest priority is to see the rise of highly spirited and exemplary leaders across our nation, with capacity to galvanize Nigerians with inspired dreams and visions, to awaken every soul to build and transform our nation. Now, truth number 5, why you must forgive. Unforgiveness renders you vindictive and small-minded. You can never hope to rise above pettiness, command the respect and trust of others, and muster the goodwill vital to make a difference without the critical factors of forgiveness and great-heartedness. Forgiveness is not a sign of weakness by any means, but a mark of character and foresight that reveals the quality of your heart as a person of grace, honor, wisdom, and courage. Vindictiveness is a leakage that eats away your spiritual and social goodwill and render you poor, envious, and little-minded. Not poverty of money and cars, but of life, consequence, and true blessedness. Number 6 reason why you must forgive. When you fail to forgive, you repeat the same mistakes. You cannot avoid the generational pitfalls of pettiness and distrust that have held my generation and our nation backward since independence without forgiving the past generation. Nothing will ever change in our nation. The same experiences we are allowed to affect and control us have an uncanny way of reproducing themselves in us to transform us into the same image and likeness. You cannot begin your journey of a great future and hope with the seed of hate and a life of vindictiveness and rivalry. An eye for an eye will make the whole world go blind. These are the eternal words of Mahatma Gandhi. Number 7 reason why you must forgive. A generation that holds grudges against their fathers will live to become orphans. An orphan has neither root nor heritage, nor sense of belonging. So incapable of blessedness and connection to his reality. To insist on the wisdom of resentment and defiance against your forebearers is certainly counterproductive. The reason is this: life progresses by succession. It is impossible to lead forward without the blessing, goodwill, and support of your forebearers and all who matter to your destiny. Second, a country divided against itself along generational lines will never produce a great, peaceful, and progressive nation. Nelson Mandela demonstrated the greatest leadership spirit the world ever witnessed and saved South Africans from collective self-destruction by towing the path of forgiveness, reconciliation, and peace. Number 8 reason why you must forgive. A bad tree can never bring forth a healthy fruit. And I think this summarizes everything. But for emphasis reason, let me reiterate this. As citizens and leaders, it is impossible to build a healthy nation and a meaningful life without authenticity, love, and vitality. You cannot hate the old generation of Nigerians and pretend to love the next generation. Neither can you disparage the past and esteem the future generation. Love is love. You sabotage your destiny without genuineness of heart, sound mind, and a great spirit. A heart void of purity and love never finds peace, joy, and freedom, nor the goodness and inspiration to lead and progress with grace. For those who desire a future of great accomplishments, remarkable leadership, and enduring legacy, genuineness, friendship, and vigor are non-negotiable. Number 9 reason why you must forgive my generation. Without forgiveness, you shut the doors of heaven against yourself. And I think this is most fundamental. Bitterness and anguish turn the heavens into brass over a people and withhold rain from them to cause drought of spiritual energy, inspiration, thoughts, inventiveness, and grace. Doors of heaven are not doors of religion opened at will by your prayers, nor because you are a good Muslim or a great Christian. Doors of heaven are doors of spiritual freedom, divine mercy, grace, peace, joy, wisdom, and energy, unlocked within the spirits of your heart by your action of love, fairness, and thoughtfulness. If you sow forgiveness and forbearance and mercy on earth, you receive the rain of mercy, grace, and blessedness from heaven to flourish without limit. Today, as the wind of change is blowing over our nation, to ignite the hearts of just men and women with spiritual awakening, to usher in a season of great new beginning for our nation, unforgiveness can never be an option for the Nigerian youths. What then is forgiveness? Forgiveness means not just to pardon, to let go, and to forget. No, but it is to demonstrate compassion, understanding, and tolerance as a matter of character. Forgiveness is a personal decision never to allow other people's adverse action or conduct to affect, control, or influence your own attitude, since it is not worthy to be repeated. Forgiveness is to realize the limitations of others and to provide them with a place to stand and a hand of fellowship to show them the higher power of love, especially where there is willingness. To forgive means you are still willing to continue to partner and work with the same person or people who offended you, intentionally to advance a far better relationship and healthy society, as difficult as it may seem. This is what leadership is about. Influence. Ability to lead by example and to empower others to do what, if left alone, they could never have. Forgiveness is not an art, A-R-T, but a lifestyle of meekness, mercy, and love that attracts God's goodness to you and opens your world of limitless power and creative possibilities. God forgives and empowers us only as far as we forgive and accommodate those who hurt us. Life is purely spiritual. What you sow is what you reap. This is what life is about. Dangers of closed minds. Those who fail to forgive not only end up with no capacity to trust, to compete, and to thrive, but develop closed minds and little hearts. Here's the problem. A word of closed minds and closed heart is a small word, ultimately. And this is our challenge. Your life, your accomplishments, and your society are only as big, dynamic, and progressive and flourishing as your heart and your mind. Now, here is my final point. Make no mistake about it. Forgiveness for the Nigerian youth is the first litmus test of your character, leadership, and the future Nigeria you are capable of producing. Trials and difficulties are never meant to discourage or to destroy us, but to refine and deepen our convictions and our resolve to make us masters of our own destinies. As citizens upon whose shoulders the destiny of our dear nation and future generations are going to rest upon, you must realize what is at stake. The most dangerous thing to do is to seek to entrust power into the hands of an angry man who is insecure, bitter, and hateful. Today, as the wind of change is blowing over our nation to illuminate and ignite our hearts with great transformational energy, a future of clarity and a new beginning, every Nigerian youth must recognize the significance of the moment and the pivotal role of the virtues of forgiveness, reconciliation, clear mind, innate peace, joy, and unity to nation building and to self-actualization. Who you are is a life and a nation you reproduce. So the moment to forgive is not tomorrow, but now. It is not something to consider. It is something that you have to do right now and this moment. Life is not a game. Life is far beyond how you feel. Life is about human existential meaning and the laws that govern creation. Your faith, I dare say, Nigerian youth, is in your hands. So also the future of our nation. The nation is looking to you. The world is watching. And the future is yours for the taking. I urge you to watch out for part 3 of this message. To understand the significance of the wind of change blowing over our nation and why you must shift from the mindset of protest to that of nation building. God bless Nigeria. God bless the beautiful Nigerian youths. God bless my generation as we strive for a nation determined by truth and reconciliation, love and justice. A new Nigeria of our collective pride and global power is our collective responsibility and within our reach. My name is Benjamin Alika. Thank you and God bless. Amen.